US President Trump has strongly criticized his allies, particularly the United Kingdom, for what he views as a lack of support in the ongoing conflict with Iran. He is now demanding that countries like Britain take responsibility for their own oil supplies, asserting that the most challenging phase of the conflict is already complete. In a recent post on his platform, Truth Social, President Trump escalated his rebuke. He stated that any nation experiencing oil shortages due to the blockade of the Strait of Hormuz, specifically citing the United Kingdom, which he claims refused to participate in the decapitation of Iran, should either purchase their oil directly from the United States or endeavor to secure it themselves from the Strait of Hormuz. The Strait, a vital international waterway, typically handles a significant portion of global oil trade, but the current conflict has rendered this crucial route almost entirely impassable. President Trump's message to these nations was stark. They must learn to fight for yourselves. He explicitly declared that the United States will no longer be there to help you, just as you were not there for us. His blunt directive was clear: get your own oil. The US president went on to claim a decisive victory, asserting that Iran has basically been decimated. The difficult part is done. This statement comes amidst reports previously detailed by the Wall Street Journal indicating that President Trump does not intend to use military force to reopen the Strait of Hormuz. The newspaper reported that the president is prepared to conclude the conflict even if this critical shipping lane for oil and gas trade largely remains closed. Since the commencement of the conflict with Iran, President Trump has consistently voiced his dissatisfaction with European countries and NATO partners, alleging insufficient backing for the United States. Recently, the Republican president called upon several nations to contribute to the military safeguarding of the Strait of Hormuz. However, President Trump's recent statements on Truth Social conspicuously omitted a key detail: that he himself had previously declined offers of assistance. For example, shortly after the conflict began, President Trump publicly acknowledged that the United Kingdom was considering dispatching 2 aircraft carriers to the Middle East. Yet, he simultaneously declared that such assistance was no longer necessary. On March 7th, he stated emphatically, "We do not need people who only participate in wars when we have already won them." Other nations had also turned down requested assistance, explaining their decisions by citing a lack of consultation by President Trump prior to the conflict's initiation, and expressing concerns regarding the ambiguity of his war objectives. This complex dynamic highlights the deep fissures and differing expectations within the alliance, even as President Trump pushes for allies to assume greater responsibility for their own security and resource needs. The situation around the Strait of Hormuz remains a focal point of international tension, with global energy markets closely watching developments. President Trump's latest remarks underscore a significant shift in US policy regarding allied burden sharing and military intervention in critical regions. What's your take on Trump blasts allies on Iran war support, demands oil self-sufficiency? Share your view in the comments. Do you think this will matter in the next news cycle? This video was generated using artificial intelligence.